Hello, Future Alan. Today is May 17th. So I told you I'd be telling you what I've been working on lately and what I've been spending most of my time on because, it's been quite stressful and I didn't really have the energy to show you. But as you can see on screen now, this is the wing box that I have been designing and building up in CATIA. Or rather, this is half of it because, the deflection of a wing changes depending on what position along the wing it is. The farther you go from the fuselage, the more the wing bends up. But it also has to withstand less force pulling it up. So, this is the root wing box. This has to withstand more force. This design was not by me, but this was a group effort. I should explain. A wing box is the internal structure inside of a wing that gives it all of its rigidity. The outer bit gives it the whole airfoil characteristic and stuff like that. It is what makes something fly. Whereas this thing is the part of the plane that makes sure that the wings don't snap off mid-flight. That's what we had to design. As I study aerospace and part of our grade or part of my course is to actually design things because you can't really get a job without having some hands-on application. But this is what we ended up working on. This was the project for this part of the course. Previously, we were working on other things, other designs, so including a rocker bogie, which is like the thing that rovers are built on. Like you can see it on the Curiosity rover, the way that the 6 wheels connect together. That's a rocker / bogie mechanism. We also had to design a compression panel, which are like the outer bits of rocket skins. That was another thing we had to do. But this right here is a wing box. And this is the most complicated one because, this is the last project of the year. And you can probably see that it's not very exciting, but it is quite complex. Like if I zoom in here, you can see that there are rivet holes and there are a bunch of different parts, and these are all in different shapes. And then we've got internal rib supports. And you can see that there are an awful lot of, actually, I wonder if I can change the render style. That didn't do much. The software that this is being rendered in at the moment is CATIA version 5, which is quite an old piece of software, I think. It looks old as shit. It's a bit of a weird experience going from working with SolidWorks in secondary school to CATIA in university, because they're made by the same companies, just SolidWorks seems far, far, far more up to date, but supposedly CATIA is much more advanced, maybe? I don't know. In the aerospace industry, CATIA is the standard. So that's what we use in university. It's only when I have to pull this up and explain this that I realize just how unimpressive it is. Like this is just a box, but this took fucking like 26 hours of my life. And I didn't even design it. I was just the guy who turned it into a 3D model. It's just quite disappointing. I mentioned that this is only half of it. This right here is the other wing box. This is the part that goes in the tip. And because this doesn't have to support as much weight, you can see that inside there is not nearly as much material. Like, look at that. There's only one support in the top part. If we switch back to this one, you can see that on the bottom there are 2 support stringers, and on the top there's 3, and that's not even including these extra ones on the corners which just hold the shape together. But on the whole, it looks like it's just a simple copy and paste, but what you don't see is the amount of effort it took. Like, if you'll notice ever so slightly, this rivet is not aligned with that rivet, whereas this one is aligned with that rivet. I had to go through every single small detail and make sure that this was actually perfectly assemblable. Because if you don't do that, your plane's gonna fall apart. And if your plane falls apart, bad things happen. So, as a result, I spent hours nitpicking this to make it perfect, and then I had to draw it. And CATIA has a lot of features where you can draw things. But because there are so many unique components, and we were required to submit all drawings to make this fully assemblable using only the drawings, well, it was a pain in the backside, to put it simply. But that has been what I've been spending my life on as of late. Thankfully, I hopefully don't have to touch this again because we've submitted this, so we can't change anything. But alas, that's all from me, Future On. I'll see you tomorrow.